10 times bull riders face death in the arena. Few jobs flirt with death as often as bull riding. These 10 moments prove just how deadly the arena can be. 10. JB Monty vs. Assassin. Two-time PBR World Champion JB Monty was riding Arctic Assassin at the Roundup Division 2 Extreme Bulls event in Lewiston, but what was supposed to be a routine ride ended up in an injury that ended his bull riding career. He was bucked up early and landed awkwardly on his neck. This resulted in multiple neck fractures. As a result of this injury, he had rods, a plate, and screws inserted into his neck. Interestingly, he had no plans to retire. He would have had to risk significantly reducing his quality of life. The doctors had warned he would most likely break his neck a second time if he landed on it, and this time he would probably have to live the rest of his life in a wheelchair or probably be dead. Of course, he had no plans to break his neck a second time. No one does. But as a man with one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, he had to give up on a job he loved dearly. After the doctor's report, Monty had to retire. However, he made it clear that the only reason he retired was because of his wife and his 5-year-old child. Both Manny and Arctic Assassin are now retired, and he has taken possession of the bull just because he wants to take care of it. This seems funny, but speaking on his action and relationship with the Arctic Assassin, Monty said he had a job to do. I just didn't do mine. 9. Bonner Bolton vs. Buckle Up. Monty's fall put him at the risk of being paralyzed, but Bolton actually got paralyzed after breaking his C2 vertebra. Imagine landing on your head and realizing you can see your arms but can't move them. While riding Buckle Up in a PBR event in 2016, Bolton had had a successful ride. All that was left was for him to get off the bull successfully. Unfortunately, he couldn't do this without having to deal with a life-changing moment. While looking to get off the beast, it bucked him up and left him spiraling in the air. He ended up landing on his head. Many felt he should have been unconscious, but he actually didn't get unconscious. Sadly, he couldn't move his neck downwards. He could see his hands but couldn't move them, and that was when it dawned on him how close he had come to dying. He was rushed to a local hospital, and without the doctor saying anything, he knew he could end up in a wheelchair. After 24 hours of being paralyzed, Bolton suddenly began regaining his feeling, but was still far from being well. He went through a 6-hour surgery which saw doctors put a metal frame around his vertebra, and they even promised him he stood a chance of riding again. For a moment, it seemed like he would get a miracle. Sadly, all hope of making it back to the arena was crushed a few months later, as the doctor disclosed he would never ride a bull again. Bull riding is dangerous, but gets a lot worse when you have to ride a bull that has a reputation for sending riders to the emergency room.
Let's ride. Let's go.
Oh, no. Oh!
He's going to get a reride, and he is also...
8. Tough Hedeman vs. Bodacious. In 1995, during the PBR World Finals in Las Vegas, legendary rider Tough Hedeman challenged Bodacious, the infamous world's most dangerous bull. Since Hedeman was legendary, he felt he could deal with Bodacious' dangerous buckling, but he was wrong. This bull had a headbutting technique, which was basically done on purpose to injure riders. This was one of Bodacious' final rides, and it ended with Hedeman launching headfirst into the bull's head. The impact shattered his face, affecting every major facial bone. As a matter of fact, his face was fractured in more than 60 places. These pieces included his jaw, cheekbones, and nose, leaving him fighting for his life in surgery for hours. He also lost teeth but was able to walk out of the arena. This might not seem like a big deal, but he got a standing ovation for walking out on his own. 6 titanium plates were attached to his face to repair the damage. Bodacious was hard on Hedeman, but the rider wasn't his only victim. This next victim was so badly hurt, the bull had to be retired.
He's knocked out. Open that gate, boys.
7. Scott Bredding vs. Bodacious. Just months after Hedeman's wreck, Scott Bredding drew the same killer bull and was knocked unconscious mid-air. This happened at NFR Las Vegas 1995. The beast slammed him into the arena wall. Bredding had attempted riding Bodacious 2 times before but was unsuccessful. Well, this time he made it to the bull's back. Amazingly, he could only last 4 seconds. The bull had a crazy technique, and just like Hedeman before him, Bodacious made a move that left Bredding with several facial injuries. He broke his nose, fractured his cheekbone, cheekbone and his left eye socket. Bodacious's hit on Bredding was so severe, the bull had to be retired. Clearly, the most legendary of riders couldn't handle it.
Now then, there's Scotty right there, bull. Oh, Scott, look out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's down. Heads up, boys, he's safe. All right.
6. Cooper Davis versus Airtime. Getting unconscious in the arena is dreadful, but what would you do if the doctors said your leg might be gone forever? In a 2016 PBR event, Cooper Davis was thrown into the sky by a bull called Airtime. Being hurled off the back of the bull was scary, but not as scary as the 1,800-pound beast landing on one's leg. Unfortunately, that was Davis's experience. This experience left the bull rider with a torn ligament and a shattered femur. He had to undergo a series of surgeries and was sidelined for more than a year. Staying out of action for several months was heartbreaking, but things could have been worse. The doctors warned of potential amputation.
The bull's going to be wild. He's going to jump out there. Davis is out of there, and the bull is just absolutely
5. Cody Nance versus Mr. Bull. Sometimes surviving after an injury in the arena is easy to explain. Other times, not many people have an explanation, and it becomes easy to assume that a miracle could have been involved. Well, that was what happened with Cody Nance. As much as we can't prove if it was a miracle or not, Nance believes there was a supernatural force involved in his survival. In PBR Phoenix 2016, while riding Mr. Bull, Nance was thrown off and trampled by the bull repeatedly. This experience left him with broken ribs, internal bleeding, and a ruptured spleen. Things were so bad, he was left lying unconscious on the arena floor. For a moment, it seemed like things wouldn't get worse, but he flatlined en route to the hospital but was revived, ultimately surviving the entire process.
As we just showed you on the graphic, wow, Cody Nance lucky.
4. Silvano Alves versus Cochise. Going from the arena to the hospital can be insane, but spending some time in the ICU because of a bull ride takes insanity to a whole new level. In 2016, 3-time world champion Silvano Alves had an encounter that didn't just send him to the hospital, it sent him to the ICU. During the ride, Alves was knocked out after Cochise hit him with his hind leg. That's not all. He was pinned against the metal, had a lung punctured, and had his ribs crushed. Of course, getting knocked out was bad, but even worse was the fact that the Brazilian had to fight off pneumonia in the ICU. 3. Zachary Nagel versus Unnamed Bull. Fighting off pneumonia is extreme, but so is losing so much blood before getting to the hospital. Zachary Nagel's bull ride at the Conley Invitational, Palmetto, Florida in 2025 wasn't supposed to be his last. He was just 24 and could still ride bulls for a couple more years, but seconds into his ride, there was a major mishap, most likely something no one planned for. The bull's horn slipped under Nagel's helmet and sliced open his neck, severing his carotid artery. He lost nearly 2 gallons of blood on the arena floor. He was rushed to the hospital, and doctors considered him lucky to still be alive. They had to carry out emergency surgery to save his life. Although Nagel is fine now, he claimed to have fought to still continue breathing as he could feel himself going in and out. Nagel was in the ICU for 3 days after undergoing plastic surgery to fix his small carotid artery. Spending time in the ICU after a bull ride is pretty ugly, but this next moment takes things to a whole new level.
Doctors pretty much told me I was very lucky to be alive, that an injury like that a lot of people don't walk away from.
2. Stormy Wings versus Sun Country. For this next moment, we take a trip to 2019, where Wings had to ride a bull called Sun Country. Well, he got on the bull like every other rider and was probably hoping to have a successful ride. Unfortunately, it appeared like he was asking for too much. Midway into the ride, Wings was thrown off the back of the bull, but that wasn't all. He got stomped on so badly he couldn't stand. Things already looked bad for him, but they got worse as he suffered a hyoid fracture and brain bleed.
Comes Puck. Wow.
1. Lane Frost versus Taking Care of D Business. Sometimes a blow is a lot worse than it actually looks, and this is perhaps what Lane Frost's encounter with Taking Care of D Business proves. On July 30th, 1989, after a successful 85-point ride at Cheyenne Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Frost thought it was all over, but he was wrong. The beast was probably not so happy he had had a successful ride. So as he dismounted, the bull turned on him and knocked him over. The bull went on to strike him with its horn. This this didn't seem like a lot, as Frost stood up and tried walking away like nothing had happened. Sadly, he couldn't walk too far before falling back to the mud. In the moment, it seemed like all he needed was a little bit of assistance. Unfortunately, he needed a lot more. He had waved for assistance and help seemed on its way, but no one could really offer him the help he needed in the moment. In the end, he died of massive internal bleeding. Frost was buried without an autopsy, so it isn't certain what exactly killed him. Nonetheless, it is believed that the bull's horn broke some of his ribs, which in turn fractured some internal organs. He was 25 and came third in that competition. That's not all. He could have gone on to become a lot more successful. However, he knew the hazards involved in his line of work, and death was certainly one. Although dead, Frost will never be forgotten. His friend and traveling partner Tuff Hedeman picked up his second PRCA bull riding championship at the NFR in 1989. After successfully riding a bull for 8 seconds, he decided to ride it for another 8 seconds in memory of his friend. Hedeman wasn't the only friend that tried to honor Frost's memory. Another travel partner and friend, Cody Lambert, developed a protective vest to prevent other riders from facing Frost's fate. This vest later became mandatory. These moments underscore the unbreakable spirit of bull riders, who return time and again despite the odds. Viewer discretion advised. These videos capture the unfiltered danger of the sport. If you're into rodeo, check out PBR events for live action.